Finally, he began. His words were slow, deliberate, carrying the weight of every word carefully considered. "Who is Jesus?" he repeated, almost as if testing the sound of the words. "He is," he continued, "a man who suffered." Ibrahim Traoré's voice resonated through the silent hall. "He is a man who suffered like all men, a man who loved, who struggled, who fought against injustice." With each word, he wove a tapestry of understanding, acknowledging pain without shying away from it. It wasn't a religious text. It was a shared human experience. But when he said, "He forgives because he is strong," there was a shift. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some nodded, others shook their heads in disagreement. Yet Traore pressed on. "We must be like him, strong enough to love, brave enough to fight, and yes, big enough to forgive." He spoke not as a leader above, but as a fellow traveler on the same journey, acknowledging the darkness, the suffering, but also the strength and the light. "Forgiveness does not mean forgetting," he continued. "It means bearing the weight of pain, of oppression, of those who still suffer today, and turning it into a strength." It wasn't a call to forget history, but to rise above it. To forgive isn't to ignore the past, he seemed to say, but to build a future where such wounds don't dictate the present. The hall was a sea of faces, each a story, each touched by history. Ibrahim Traoré looked out at them. He saw pain, resilience, hope, and perhaps most strikingly, the urge for unity. As he concluded, "Only together can we heal. Only together can we be strong." His words echoed long after he fell silent, leaving a space for reflection, for healing, and for hope. The silence that followed was different from the one before. It was no longer burdened by division or discomfort. Instead, it hummed with a newfound understanding. The little girl who had asked the question, her name was Fatimata, stood up a little straighter. Her eyes, shining with comprehension, mirrored the dawning realization in the hearts of many. That day, a seed of unity was planted, watered by honesty and nurtured by the courage to confront the past. The road ahead would be long, the challenges many. Yet in that hall, a significant step had been taken. Ibrahim Traoré didn't just answer a child's question, he addressed a nation's soul. He showed that even in the heart of Africa, where history had been marked by divisions, there could be understanding, forgiveness, and a shared path towards healing. The event was more than a political gathering. It became a testament to the power of honest dialogue, the strength of shared humanity, and the courage it takes to confront the shadows of the past. As the crowd dispersed that day, carrying with them the weight of Traoré's words, they also took with them a sense of responsibility. The responsibility to listen, to understand, and to heal. And in that responsibility lay the seeds of a stronger, more united Burkina Faso, a nation learning to forgive and move forward, led by a young leader who dared to listen to a child's question, and in doing so change the course of his country's history. This is the speaker. You can hear his anxiety, he's sweating. He knows this will be a test. This is the girl. She doesn't know she'll cause an earthquake. She just wants an answer. And then he began, not with politics, not with division, but with memory. He spoke of growing up in Burkina Faso, where neighbors of different faiths shared meals, where Christians celebrated Muslim holidays, and Muslims joined in Christmas joy. He reminded them of markets where elders would pray in different ways but still greet each other with respect. He painted a picture of unity, of a time when identity was not defined by which prophet you followed, but by how you treated the person next to you. His voice carried the weight of lived experience, but also a challenge. The crowd leaned in. What would he say next? Would he elevate one faith above another, or would he bridge the unspoken gap? The stakes grew heavier with every word. The girl's question wasn't only about Jesus, it was about belonging, about how faith could either divide or unite a people already fractured by outside forces. Whispers rose in the back. Some feared he might anger powerful religious figures. Others feared foreign nations would seize on his words, twisting them for their own agendas. Still, everyone waited. His answer, they knew, would ripple far beyond the walls of that hall. And then it came. With a calm strength, Trudeau said, "Jesus was not given to us by colonizers. He was not a weapon of division. He was a man of peace, a prophet of dignity, a voice for the oppressed. If you strip away the chains of history, what remains is his truth, a truth about compassion, justice, and love for all people." Gasps filled the room. Some blinked back tears, others bowed their heads. He had said what many had been too afraid to voice, that faith, at its root, was never meant to be a tool of oppression. It was human hands that twisted it, human greed that weaponized it. He reminded them that just as Jesus stood against injustice in his time, so too must Africans stand against the injustice of racism, exploitation, and division today. His words drew a direct line between spiritual truth and the fight for dignity in the modern world. The little girl's face lit up, her innocence shining like a beacon. For her, it wasn't politics. It was clarity. But for the adults, it was more than clarity. It was a challenge to unlearn, to heal, to reclaim faith not as a foreign imposition, but as a shared human heritage. The room had gone silent, and sometimes silence says more than words ever could. This is a true story, a moment of courage and candor from a young African leader. But here's what makes it even more powerful. It's not just a story, it's a call to action for all of us. A reminder that faith, at its core, is about connection, compassion, and justice. It's a call to reject manipulation, to stand up against injustice, and to seek understanding in a world that often pushes us apart. The girl's innocent question cracked open a door, and when we walk through that door, we find stories. Stories that connect us, stories that challenge us, and stories that inspire us to be better. That's the spirit of our channel. We believe in the power of stories, and we want to hear yours, so share your story. Let's build bridges together. Remember, you can support us. Your support helps us keep this content free for everyone. And thank you for being part of this journey. Together, let's continue to learn, grow, and inspire change in our world. And as we move forward, let's carry with us the wisdom of the past, the courage to speak up, and the hope for a brighter future. Thank you.